Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unanswered Questions. Sometimes during our live broadcasts, we don't get enough time to answer all the amazing questions from students. So we're going to answer some of the top voted unanswered questions here in the video. So let's get right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
First question. It's saying that my Roblox password was recently leaked. What should I do? Should I change it?
That's in your wheelhouse.
Probably, I guess my cautious mind will be if the pop-up itself says click this link to change your password,
don't do it.
Is it going to take you to the Roblox password changer, or is it going to take you somewhere else? So I would say there's nothing wrong with changing your password if you have any concerns, but log into Roblox directly and change your password that way. I wouldn't trust any pop-up that says click here to change it, because
that's what I was going to say as well. Like, don't click any link on any kind of pop-up. Go directly to the Roblox site and change it from the site.
How can I activate incognito mode? Typically in your browser, either private browsing or incognito, in your window tab top left corner, you should see an open new incognito tab or window. But again, that doesn't make you completely safe. It just keeps the privacy, keeps your device not recording your history.
Right. So your internet service provider, whoever it is, Shaw, Bell in Canada is a good example. They're still recording, but your device is not.
Yeah. And any website you visit will still know.
Yeah, I think incognito mode's really cool for using for the purposes if you want to see what the internet actually knows about you. Using incognito mode, because it removes the filter bubble, is a really good example. We also recommend it for women who are leaving abusive relationships if they're doing searching online on what they need to do to prepare leaving. They don't want to leave a history there that potentially an abusive partner is going to be able to see. So there's all kinds of good uses for incognito mode, but just understand that it doesn't prevent your internet service provider from knowing where you're going.
Yeah. Is it safe to reuse the same password? Typically, no. However, I do think if you have over 90, 100 plus accounts, I think it does make it harder to manage all that. Yes, using a password manager would be ideal, but if you're going to reuse the same password, make it for your very not important accounts. Just little miscellaneous accounts you sign up for.
And then people, they're always complaining, oh, I got so many accounts, like how am I going to remember all the passwords, right? So that's where a good password manager comes into play.
Yeah.
Right. And what are some that you would recommend?
Well, the free ones, if you have Apple, there's the Apple iCloud keychain. Yep. Google has their password manager, and then there's other third-party options out there as well. So, those are all decent options. What are the most common hacking techniques?
I think the best one is the weakest link is always the human link, right?
Yeah, I think the easiest way hackers hack is by either tricking you into giving over your password. I mean, is that a hack? I mean, I technically, yes. It's not like coding hacking where they break into the mainframe with code and ones and zeros. But yeah, that's the most simplistic but also most effective type of hack.
Weakest link is always the human link, right?
Can you at the White Hatter access our passwords?
No.
However, if there's a data breach and a hacker and a scammer have leaked passwords publicly on the internet, sometimes we can, see that, but so can everybody.
Yeah.
If I get hacked, should I contact the police?
Yeah, I think you should. It depends upon what your definition of hacked is, right? But I mean, if it's a true hack and they've gotten into, say, a bank account or something important like that, then reporting it to the police is important. However, are the police going to do anything about it? Depending upon the type of hack and what was hacked.
Depends on the seriousness of it. I mean, here's the thing. Police have more important things to deal with than someone hacking into, say, your gaming account.
Exactly.
Are they going to launch an investigation? Probably not. Yeah, they might make a report and it's there, but, if it's something simple like that, it's probably not worth your time or the police time if it's a hack in your gaming account. Bank.
A lot of questions on hacks.
Yeah, if it's a bank, I think that's a different scenario. But yeah. What actions should I take if a pop-up on YouTube prompts me for personal questions?
Delete.
You just close the pop-up. You don't have to answer those questions.
Don't do it. You don't know if the pop-up is legit or not. Just delete it, right?
How do viruses work? Well, they're like any other code or program out there. I think the one thing that viruses do today to make them effective is that they attempt to convince you to allow them. It's actually really difficult for a hacker to randomly hack into your device. It's really difficult today. That usually requires you as a person to be tricked into allowing the download, and it's a small program that's designed to either steal, to spy, or to spam.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a state nation doing the hacking, a little bit different,
Yeah,
right? Kind
true.
of thing. But for the it's pretty hard. But viruses, how do computer viruses work? Like the human cold virus works, right? Once you catch it, it spreads.
Yeah.
And you don't know when you caught it. That's the other thing. Like a lot of the virus protection that's out there, it only comes into play after they've recognized that there's a virus, and then they have a program to identify it and then nuke it.
Yeah.
So.
What type of Wi-Fi should I use? Well, am I like what, Wi-Fi 4, 5, or 6? Just as long as there's a password. Open public Wi-Fi or not secure, safe networks in order to do your searching and browsing on.
That's where I would use a VPN, right?
Yeah. As long as your Wi-Fi network has a password, so the data between your device and the router is at least somewhat encrypted, is the step to take. Obviously, Wi-Fi 6 is the fastest, and that one's pretty cool, but, just make sure you have a password.
Mm-hmm.
What is your perspective on the Brave browser?
Yeah, it's one of the new browsers that have come out that are really pushing the privacy issue, right? They're competing against browsers that start with G that are infamous for collecting your personal data and selling it to their financial benefit, whereas the Brave browser don't. Yeah. They're very much privacy oriented, and as a result of that, that's one of them, right? That Ghostery browser, the Bravery browser, the Firefox browser are three of the more privacy oriented browsers that are out there.
Brave has built-in Tor. You just open a Tor window by clicking two buttons, and boom, there you go. Yeah. So, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Is it possible for anyone to track me and my location?
Anything's possible, but probably not, right? I mean, it also comes down to what have you done to put proper privacy in place to prevent that from happening, right? Like, have you turned off your geotagging on your pictures, stuff like that. But is it possible? Anything's possible. Is it probable? Likely not. Difference is we've helped a number of people who are leaving abusive relationships, primarily women, whose ex-partners have decided to track them using their technology, so they go above and beyond in order to put certain things on devices to allow them to track, right? So is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Likely not, depending upon the situation. Why
have you chosen Slido to use this website over others like Teams? So Teams and Zoom are meeting platforms designed for you to talk to another person in a meeting. It's not really designed for a broadcast or doing a presentation. Mm-hmm. And Teams and Zoom have video compression to make video more accessible to more people, and because you have different people's video inputs coming in. So we wanted to live broadcast at a higher quality, like a proper broadcast you would see on TV, the news, YouTube, or Twitch. Mm-hmm. So that's why we use Slido over Teams. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we don't get to see your face, and therefore we don't get to record you.
That's the other thing too.
The amount of times that I've joined into meetings involving classrooms, and it's like, it's public, and I get to see all the students, and they had no idea I was there looking at it because it was a public link. Right. So, privacy as well. Regarding free V-Buck pop-ups, I provided my account details, and they claimed they would transfer the V-Bucks. Is this safe? Probably not.
No.
It sounds like a scam. I see tons of Fortnite V-Buck scams. Give me your data, give me your information, enter your credit card data, and for free, we'll send you free V-Bucks.
So, I mean, again, if you're going to purchase V-Bucks, go to the site to purchase it, right?
Yeah.
Don't trust a pop-up.
Yeah. Go to Epic, go to Fortnite, and download the V-Bucks directly.
Exactly.
Or I guess pay for them. Have you ever been personally hacked?
No.
Not directly, like a hacker's broken into the system, but, I've been online and gaming online since the early 2000s, and, I've had old gaming accounts hacked not because I had a bad password, but because the gaming account servers didn't have proper security. A hacker hacked the game, which had my account on there. So that's happened, but not like a direct hack into my computer. If there is a lock icon next to the website URL, does that signify the website is completely secure, or are there additional precautions?
I think once upon a time, the answer was yes, but not anymore, right? Like some of the fake sites that are popping up, they can actually embed what looks to be a lock to make you think that it is, right? So,
and Google as well is removing that icon because all websites by default should have that. And if they don't, Google and Safari and all the major browsers say, hey, this website's unsecure. So you're going to stop seeing that lock icon.
Oh, there you go. I just learned something.
I think is probably a good thing because I think that gives people a false sense of security.
I agree.
So because the lock icon, all that means is that your connection between your computer and the website is encrypted.
Is that HTTPS?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all that means. That's it. So it doesn't mean the site is safe. Even bad websites can get free security tokens in order to encrypt their site.
So therefore, should you always be looking for HTTPS?
You're not going to see that either.
Oh.
Browsers now, because again, HTTPS is the default.
Okay.
If it's not, you get a notification warning going,
So how
hey,
are you going to know if it's secure or not?
Well, with the icon, it doesn't tell you. It wouldn't tell you if it's safe or secure. Is the website trying to scam you? Well, that's using your other senses to go, something doesn't seem right here, getting pop-ups. It's making me log into my Facebook, but it's not on Facebook. There's just the clues that tell you the site is fake.
Okay.
But the icon is, it doesn't tell you anything really.
There you go.
What steps should I take if someone threatens to expose my IP address? Well, your IP address isn't private. Every website you visit has your IP address. Right. I think hackers and scammers and people who are harassing online will often use IP addresses to be like a technical scare, like, oh, scary. Or like how some scammers, when they'll go, hey, I'll connect to your computer, and they'll run a tree command and in your command prompt, and it's just all this random code that means nothing in order to scare people going, oh, something bad's happening. Nah. If they're making threats against you towards that IP address, I'm going to come to your place, I'm going to do bad things to you, well, then we got a crime. But simply going, hey, your IP address is 12345.
Now, once they get your IP address, can they not use that for the purpose of DDoSing?
Yeah, I mean, they could send you just random data to knock out your network. Yes, you require some technical skill, but once that happens, then you got a criminal offense. And it's like someone sending you spam messages in your mail.
And so is that another reason why, just to kind of up the security a little bit, going with a VPN, virtual privacy network, helps on that?
Yeah, VPNs will help with that. So your public IP address is not your actual home address. It's just some other computer running the internet for you.
Because where we hear a lot of this taking place is for teens who connect with us because they receive a message on online gaming, right? Because they're gaming without using a VPN, so their IP is there, and they're used. So one of the ways to prevent that is just use a VPN. Yeah,
it really depends on the game that you're playing. I think, games today usually hide your VPN because you're playing on their server, and most games are designed so that it doesn't leak that information. However, if you're playing more of an indie game, a more non-AAA studio-funded game, they may not have those precautions in place.
There you go.
But those are just things to consider.
There you go.
Are Chrome extensions bad? They can be. I think one of the ways hackers try to get bad code into your system is when you download a program, your device usually by default has decent security going, hey, this program wants to access this information. But your device doesn't really run those checks when you download an extension. So we have seen malicious extensions in your browser. They're add-ons, they're mods and plugins that allow you to do neat things. And there's like the Grammarly plugin. I use it all the time. It's a legitimate plugin.
So mom plays it every day.
Grammarly, the spell checking thing?
Oh, I'm thinking Wordly.
No, the spell checking plugin. You use that one too.
I do.
And that's a good legitimate plugin.
Wordly.
But so be cautious of the plugins, because sometimes plugins will want to access all your browser information, and that's sometimes how hackers and scammers will siphon that and use it and sell it and hack and all that kind of stuff. So they can be. It's like any other download.
Right.
Is it classified as cyberbullying when you say derogatory things to defend somebody else?
I'll take that one. Yeah, we call those types of people guardian angels, right? The guardian angels. And the answer is yes. I mean, just because you're protecting somebody else doesn't give you the right to say and do things that you shouldn't be saying or doing, right? So the answer is yes.
Yeah. Is that the two wrongs don't make a right type thing?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. I understand why you want to be a guardian angel, right? To protect your friend. But, in that process, you got to be careful that if you're uttering threats or saying things that you shouldn't be saying, then you can be held criminally liable for that. Maybe even civilly liable if you're being slanderous, right?
Can sending somebody a nude photo result in legal consequences?
Yeah, several different criminal consequences. Again, depending upon context, right?
It's going to depend context, where you live, your local laws, and if it's consensual or non-consensual. There's a reason why we have a full-length broadcast dedicated on that topic, because it's very complicated.
But the simple answer is, yeah, it can be, right? Especially if it's non-consensual in nature.
Yes. What if a hacker gains access to my parents' account through my account? Yeah. Definitely that's going to be more of a targeted hack. Most hackers and scammers are just throwing out a wide net and see who bites. But occasionally, once they get into your account, once they're in there, maybe they find something valuable and they're kind of seeing, maybe they'll send scam messages from your account to your friends, which could include your parents, because, your friend got a notification from you. It was a hacker, and they'll think it's a trustworthy link because you sent it, but it was the hacker. And so, yeah, it's possible once someone's in your account, they could possibly try to get into other people's accounts by pretending to be you.
And again, there's lots of questions here on hacking, and a lot of these questions are coming from teens. And I know a lot of times we get a lot of adults who are IT people who follow us on our YouTube shorts that you're doing right now going, that's not technically a hack. We agree with you, right? Like I
still think it's a hack,
okay.
Right? I think of hack in the original broad term,
which is
unauthorized use.
Okay.
Or misusing it or repurposing it for something unintended.
Okay.
I think TV and movies have really changed the perception of hack.
Okay.
Where it's someone in a hoodie in a dark room with a computer and code. I didn't like the new movie.
You didn't?
I didn't.
I loved it.
I didn't. I felt the story was I didn't like the story. It was very rushed. I think it was all about the action scenes. It was all about getting from scene to scene to scene. That was cool action. That's all it was. The actual depth of it, I didn't really find really convincing.
When was Mission Impossible ever about depth?
Sometimes, no. I think Rogue Nation had a good story.
Oh God.
Yeah. Anyways,
let us know what you think in the comments.
Maybe I'll make it that TikTok. People can argue with us.
Yeah.
I've seen debates. About.
I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
Good action scenes, but everything else.
But then again, I'm a boomer.
You like the action scenes.
I do.
The stunts and
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Motorcycle and flying.
I do.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Can apps effectively prevent hacking?
I said what?
Well, yes, the mainstream big platforms, the Facebooks, the Metas and such.
Okay.
Yeah, they have security teams designed to prevent hacking. So, yes.
Sometimes it's hard to read context into these questions, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Right? It is.
But, overall, they're never going to be effective 100%, right? Hackers are constantly trying to hack into the big platforms.
Yeah.
If I'm hacked at school, should I inform a teacher, or is there nothing they can do even if the content is extremely offensive?
I still think you should be reporting it to the teacher. I mean, a good example, if you haven't protected your AirDrop, say you're using an iDevice, iPhone, iPad, and as you're doing a presentation using your iPad in class, and then all of a sudden somebody drops a nude, unsolicited nude, and poof, all of a sudden it's in the, I guess technically, would you qualify that as a hack because they're accessing your device without your consent and dropping something on there? But
no, it's not a hack because you already have publicly available dropping. So
right.
You're using it for the intended purpose.
Okay. But
I think it's a defensive.
Some students would say I was hacked, right? So that's what I mean, right? Like it just depends. But in those types of cases, especially if it's extremely offensive, I still think reporting it to the principal because there may be something going on with their network and maybe the IT people need to have a look at it, right?
Yeah, true. I think, it's interesting because if it's happening during school, the school has a responsibility to make sure that you're safe and doing okay. And if the other person doing that is a fellow student, well, then they're bound by your school rules.
Right.
So there's things definitely your teachers can do. If you're being hacked during school time from a random person in some random country, okay, maybe your teachers may not be able to hold that person accountable, but maybe they can have things in place so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Yeah, so still, doable and worthwhile.
Next question is an interesting one.
Which platform, TikTok or YouTube, is safe for kids? I think YouTube, because TikTok has a built-in messaging feature, right? TikTok has a messaging platform as long as with a video sharing platform. YouTube doesn't. You can't really DM and message another YouTube user like you can on TikTok. So by that, in of itself, then yes, it is a safer platform.
I also think sometimes we always say this is not the platform, it's how people use a platform, right? Number one. But number two, TikTok's algorithm is you're more likely to end up going down a deep, dark hole than you are YouTube. Now, I'm not saying that you can't still go down a deep, dark hole on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think the concerning content exists on both platforms.
Yeah.
But I think TikTok, is a little, like you said, a little more open to the concerns.
Yeah, like I personally don't recommend TikTok for those under the age of 16, right? Whereas YouTube, you can get YouTube Teens. There's some better things you can do with YouTube. Having said that, I've seen teens doing some really cool things on TikTok as well, right? So, but to answer the question, I would agree with you. I think YouTube would be the better of the two.
How concerning is it if a password manager is hacked?
Concerning.
Ooh, that is a huge concern. And we're seeing more scams today focusing on that, where hackers and scammers will pretend to be your password manager. Hey, I'm Apple Keychain, or I'm Google Password Manager, I'm LastPass, or I'm NordPass, or whatever they pretend to be. Go, hey, click this link, log in, give me your master password. So they log in as you instead and steal all your passwords.
Yeah, wasn't it 1Password that got hacked a couple of years ago?
LastPass had a data breach where files were stolen. Now, again, that's not like someone hacked into your account per se, but that it's complicated. But yes, your password for your password manager must be the most secure. And I would really recommend you enable two-factor authentication for your password manager.
What's two-factor authentication?
It's using another piece of identity to confirm you are the actual intended user. Usually it's your phone. You try to log in on a new device. You'll get a text or notification going, hey, just confirm. Are you intending to log in? Yes and no. Maybe you enter a random 4-digit code that on your phone to confirm who you are. Mm-hmm. So a hacker in some random country, if they don't have your phone, they don't get the code, they can't log in. So that will greatly increase your security there. So be cautious. Password managers are wonderful, but they need to be the most secure account along with your email, the most secure accounts in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Is encouraging someone to commit suicide illegal or a police matter?
I'll take that one. Yes, in many cases, trying to encourage somebody to commit suicide here in Canada, again, we're talking Canadian law, there's a section of the criminal code called counseling suicide that would fall under. So yes, indeed, that is illegal and would become a policing matter for sure.
Can your Apple AirTag be compromised? Well, people can find it and your AirTag will make dings if it doesn't call back to your phone because maybe you're using it inappropriately. It will let people know, hey, I'm here looking at people. Can someone know your location from your own AirTag? No, unless they have access to your Apple Find My account. Yeah. Probably not. Now, if someone finds your AirTag, gets the serial number, and then maybe it's used inappropriately, police do a production order, get a warrant, go to Apple going, here's a serial tag. Who does this belong to? Okay, that could happen, but not like a random person is going to hack into your AirTag easily.
Are AirTags being abused? Absolutely they are, right? Like we know that AirTags are being used. Again, I get back to relationships where a partner wants to become abusive to know where their ex is going all the time. They'll throw an AirTag in their car or in their bag or something like that, right? So,
is it possible to resolve a virus issue independently? Probably not. You're probably going to need some software antivirus malware removal program in order to assist you with that. Could you?
Unless you're really good at what you do.
Yeah,
right?
Possibly you could, but most average people, probably not.
That's why all our devices, even though we have Apple, all our devices, we have malware protection on there, right? So.
If I'm too afraid to seek help, what alternative options are available?
Well, if you're too afraid to seek help, a lot of times you can seek it anonymously, right? So that's really, really, really important to understand, right? Like if you're a young person who is having some difficult times and you want to reach out to talk to somebody, a lot of the sites that we recommend that you can find on our website or on our app, you can talk to somebody anonymously, right? Because that's what it's all about is reaching out anonymously. And a lot of these options that we give allow you to do that.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, if you don't want to reach out to an official, you can also reach out to sometimes your best friend can be another resource to help. But understand that sometimes friends can only do so much, and there may have to come a point in time where you have to reach out to an adult to get that help. But even then, you can do it anonymously until you're ready to take the next step, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For individuals who recognize their actions as cyberbullying, what steps can they take to apologize and reconcile with those they have harmed?
Boy, I'll take that one. I can't tell you how many times we've gone to presentations where after we talk about this topic at the end, the target comes up to us and says, Darren, I just want to thank you because at the end of your presentation, the aggressors who were targeting me came up to me to apologize for what it is that they did, right? So, and that's a really cool thing. A lot of times I think people don't understand the emotional, psychological, and physical effects that this has on the intended target. It's one of the reasons why we show that video, right, of that student that we've helped, because by watching that video creates empathy, allows you to put yourself in the shoes of the other person, understand that what you're saying or doing can cause harm, right? So, yeah.
If I reach out to you, will you always involve parents?
Well, I'll answer that question. In most cases, no. The caveat to that, however, is if we believe that you're in danger and need a help, immediately help, then there's a legal responsibility that we need to reach out to somebody else to get involved, right? So I think that's really important. In most cases, I've only had to do that twice, where I've had to reach out to emergency services because I truly believe that individual that reached out to us was going to do something really bad, right? And so as a result of that, there's a legal response and morally as well for us to reach out to somebody else, be it parents or be it law enforcement, whoever, to now intervene in that exigent circumstance.
Yeah, and usually, it's with the consent with the young person because we don't know who your parents are.
Right.
Like you reach out to us, ask a question, ask for help, but we don't know anything about you. We're not going to know who your parents are to reach out directly. So usually it's working with you to help them and work them come to realizing that, hey, your parents are a good resource to help in whatever situation you might be dealing with. Mm-hmm. But if you don't tell us who your parents are, we can't reach out to them.
Right.
Makes it very difficult.
Yeah.
What if the person sending me nudes isn't in my country? Well, usually that's still going to be illegal in the country that they are in. Now, not always, and not every country enforces their laws like we do here in North America, but some countries do work with each other to make sure laws are enforced, although...
I mean, a really good example is Canadians. We work quite closely with Americans. Just recently, a person in Oregon was convicted to 20 years in jail for sexually exploiting 3 teens here in the province of British Columbia, right? So, I mean, a lot of countries, especially if they're NATO-based countries, there's a lot of close interaction that takes place. But, what happens if the person's from Russia or, a country like that? It's going to be very hard.
Yeah. How should I respond if an adult asks me inappropriate pictures in person?
That is still illegal. That could actually be considered luring under the criminal code. So as a result of that, I would bring it to the attention of a trusted adult or law enforcement would be my recommendation, right? Yep. So it would still be considered luring under the criminal code.
What if someone spreads embarrassing photos of somebody without their consent, but they're not nude images?
Yeah, that's if they're not nude, it wouldn't fall under the non-consensual distribution of intimate images. It wouldn't fall under the Intimate Image Protection Act. Depending upon the photos, you could have a mischief. You could have maybe civilly a libel or a slander. Again, context is going to be everything. In most cases, however, if they're just embarrassing, there's really nothing illegal about it, right?
Yeah. An embarrassing photo in of itself, wouldn't be necessarily illegal, but depending on how that photo is being used and what's being said along with that, could be the criminal offense.
I mean, a good example, we had a teen say, yeah, somebody took a picture of me kind of sticking my tongue out and doing cross eyes is really embarrassing. Is that illegal? No, it's not illegal.
Nope.
Right? So,
is it illegal if my friend has a nude photo in their possession, even if they're not the type to distribute it?
if you've provided consent to that person to have possession of that nude, then it would not be illegal.
Yeah.
Right?
If it's the images of I'm assuming it's a youth, but if it's an adult, I mean, that's a different thing.
Yeah,
but if it's someone under the age of 18,
good point, right?
then, well, yeah, it's the consent part is the important aspect there. If it's
it is.
over the age of 18, well, adults, nude photos of adults are not inherently illegal.
Right.
So
Sometimes.
again, with their
Context.
consent and
Yeah,
context, there's
Right. So,
much more narrow in restrictions with youth.
correct. Way more narrow.
Yes. What should I do if a friend shows me a nude photo without my consent?
I would say, please don't do that again. Just warn them. Just say, by you showing me that picture, you just broke the law, right? You broke the law. If it's a person under the age of 18, right?
Yeah.
If it's somebody over the age of 18 that we just talked, not so much, but still
There
even
is
then.
decent communications.
Yeah, but is just showing a picture, I wouldn't think it would fall under, thinking about that section of the criminal code, that wouldn't fall under that, in my opinion, right? If I'm just showing you a picture, right? So if it's somebody under the age of 18, then that would be illegal, right?
Yep.
So if it's somebody over the age of 18, that not illegal, but you should be saying to the person, listen, if you're really a friend of mine, you shouldn't be doing that, right? Like that's just not cool to do. But if it's definitely somebody under the age of 18, I'd be warning them, hey, don't do that. Don't show me that picture. By you doing it, you're breaking the law, right? You're distributing child pornography if it's a person under the age of 18.
What action should I take if an adult makes me uncomfortable or acts inappropriately towards me?
Immediately set a boundary, a verbal and physical boundary, by saying no, stop, stay back, I'm feeling uncomfortable, right? So setting that verbal and physical boundary is what's really important. And I think one of the things that we don't necessarily teach youth and teens to do effectively, right? Like and because of that fact, a lot of adults, especially those who want to groom children and exploit children, understand that and use that to their advantage. So I think setting that firm verbal and physical boundary is what's really important.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges, depending with young people and how they understand rules and appropriateness, is the idea that because there's an adult that you have to respect them.
Yeah.
And you have to do what they say. No, the respect is earned.
Right.
So, yeah. If I trick somebody into clicking a link that leads to an explicit website that has material in it that shouldn't be there, am I still legally responsible?
If someone tricks me in clicking a link to explicit material, am I legally responsible? Probably not, as long as you can prove that somebody tricked you to do that. Because some people will just say that, right? Like I remember when I was policing, we arrested a guy who says, I just accidentally, accidentally go through the history. And well, you did that accident like 100 times, right? Like,
yeah,
so
I guess it depends what the explicit material is.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, someone, swearing is technically explicit material. So it depends. If it's a legal material, I think that's very different. If you're go to a site, it's illegal material, and you go off it right away, okay, fine. Like there's going to be a record of of how much time you spent there. You clicked on it, went off right away. Okay, probably not. But again, if you're going there again and again and again,
kind of proves intent.
yeah. If it's just someone, being mean and rude or swearing, still explicit, again, that's not illegal.
Yeah.
So depends on the material.
Yeah.
If I stumble upon a shared photo online that I know shouldn't be there, what is the appropriate course of action?
So I'm going to read nudes under the age of 18 into this one.
Sure.
Because a lot of these come from teens, right?
Yeah.
So if you see it, report it, number one. In fact, we found some legislation here that says that if you find something on a specific platform, you're supposed to notify the platform, right? So I'd be notifying somebody like an adult or a person in authority so that they can deal with it. So
am I permitted to seek police assistance if an adult is sexually harassing me online?
absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
100%. right? Absolutely 100%. Just because they're an adult doesn't make it legal for them to sexually harass you online, right? So if they're doing that, I don't care if it's an adult or a teen, report it immediately so it can be dealt with immediately.
Does not safe for work art, regardless of whether it's AI generated or not, featuring minors constitute child sexual abuse material under Canada's criminal code?
Yeah, we have some case law here in our country that has now stated that, in fact, if it's AI generated or even artistic artwork that is held out to be of somebody under the age of 18, it is considered to be child sexual abuse material.
Yeah, if they're nude or depicted as, or engaging in sexual acts, What steps should I take if my nudes are being circulated without my knowledge?
Go for it, dude.
Well, I think that's hard. If you don't know they're being circulated, what steps should you take if you don't know about it, right? So let's assume you didn't know it was happening for a couple weeks, and then you found out about it. Oh, geez, this was happening. Okay. First off, immediately, being a youth, contact police right away, so that they can get down takedown orders. They can do production orders. You can have the image indexed or hashed by a program like Arachnid that will go through the internet, look for those images, and attempt to do an automatic takedown. Those are the immediate first steps to take. If you're in Canada, we have 8 provinces that have intimate image protection orders where you can go to court and get a quick application to get images taken down. So there's a variety of steps to take once you discover this has been happening. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you nailed it all.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's more complicated than that, but those are the immediate first jot note steps.
Yeah.
It's way more complicated.
Yeah.
If someone creates a fake account, sends unwanted nudes, and then deletes the accounts, can they be traced?
In most cases, yes, but not all cases, right? I mean, I'm going to say yes with a caveat is sometimes no, right? But in a lot of cases, yeah, they can still be traced. There's a variety of different ways to do that. I mean, I've been involved in cases where an account was deleted and law enforcement was still able to find out who the person was.
It depends on the platform.
Correct.
Every app and website handle data differently in terms of when things are deleted and what they collect.
And that's why I say most times yes, sometimes no. I just don't want to get into the meat and bones of it, because potentially if there's somebody who's watching this who wants to abuse it, I don't want to give them any ideas, right? So
if I tried contacting a helpline and they're asking for a counselor name that I don't have. So you're calling for help and they're saying, hey, who's your counselor? And you don't have one?
Well, then how can you give them a name if you don't have a counselor?
There's more than one helpline that can be there for assistance. So if one helpline isn't giving you what you need, go to another one.
Right, for sure.
They're not all the same.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things I want to note here is on our free White Hatter app, we have links to all kinds of different helplines here in Canada, right? No matter where you live, where you can reach out to. And it's kind of like anything else. Just because one organization works for you doesn't mean that it's going to work for your friend. Right? It's kind of like doctors. Just because my doctor works for me doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, right? Yep. So, pick somebody that you feel comfortable with is ultimately the thing that we always say to youth and even to adults.
If the police trace an individual who has distributed nudes, can those same individuals track me?
Or trace me? If the police can trace individuals who distribute nudes, can those same individuals trace me?
Well, the police can trace you, yes, but also can the people distributing trace you?
How are they gonna know it's you?
Yeah, true.
Right? How are they gonna know it's you? Because police are under no obligation to disclose who you are during the investigation. It may come forward in the disclosure once you get to court, because then you would become a witness potentially. But
but again, courts have what's it called, redacting youth.
That's within the public area, but with respect to disclosure, everything needs to be disclosed to the defense, right? So including names and all that kind of stuff. So
interesting question. Good question though.
In most cases, no.
What are your thoughts on pornography shared online without the receiver's consent? Well, any sexual act without consent is wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple answer.
Yeah. Simple. Easy. Yeah.
No. Bad.
Do you encounter any adversaries, such as malicious hackers?
No. Have we had some people kind of troll us a little bit? Yeah, sure. We've
It's
had
the
that.
internet. Who doesn't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes, right? Kind of thing. But I mean, those types of individuals are easy dealt with, right?
Yeah. It's not like we have an arch nemesis.
No. It sounds like a cartoon.
What immediate actions should I take after experiencing cyberbullying in Minecraft? Well, Minecraft has, assuming you're probably playing on a server, so there's probably disconnecting from that server if it's not a safe server that doesn't have proper protections and moderators in place. Probably not the best place for you to be. Just go to a different server. I think it's the best step, and make sure you're using a server that there are safety protocols in place. Maybe a server that's turned off general text chat.
And a lot of these gaming platforms now also have reporting portals for toxicity, right?
True.
And a lot of them are taking a lot more immediate action on this kind of stuff as well, right?
Yep.
Not
and,
all, but
and those are the questions from January.
very cool. A lot of questions on hacking this time.
I know.
Like
Really interesting.
that's really interesting on this one, right? Like that's the first one all these done. Yeah, like usually you get one or two questions, but this series of questions, like I would say almost 50% of them were to deal with hacking. Interesting.
Well, until next time, stay safe, have fun, have a great time online.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.